Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is just about that time. We begin with words from Psalm 150. Here we go. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, I think we can have some more Shabbat Shalominess than that. Shabbat Shalom. That was significantly better, everyone. It is wonderful to see you. In our Jewish tradition, the word Shabbat reminds us of the story of creation, where we're told that God created for 6 days, and on the seventh day, God rested and had a Shabbat. And we, too, have been taught to emulate that need for rest and refreshment and renewal in our lives by creating a parenthetical pause, by creating space in our life to not only reflect, but to be with one another and to slow down and let the outside world be the outside world. And that's hard to do because so much of the outside world just wants to come in. But we're taught that we just need that space for ourselves, for our families, and for our lives. On your phones, there's this button that it looks like an airplane, but it's actually called Shabbat mode. And you are welcome to let the outside world be the outside world and just let yourself be here and give yourself a gift of time. And the word shalom, well, the word shalom is our tradition's greatest prayer. It's our prayer for peace. And perhaps maybe no day do we need a prayer for peace more than a day and a week like this. So we have some rest, we have some peace, and we have each other. Now, during COVID, and definitely with masks, it's been hard to make sure that we know who's actually here, because sometimes we don't actually recognize people from the eye up. But it's important that we have an opportunity to sort of just say Shabbat Shalom to the people around us. And I want to invite you, you can turn around to the north, the south, the east, and the west, and say Shabbat Shalom to the people who are around you, and just welcome one another here with kindness. Underneath your seats is a prayer book that is blue and looks like this. And also on the screens, you will also find the words of the prayers that are going to be said today. And our service this morning is a participatory service. Every prayer that Lily Joy reads or sings, we're going to participate as well. We're going to turn to page 226. And we remember that in this prayer book, each 2 pages is like one really large page. And so if Lily Joy leads us in a prayer on the right-hand side or on the left-hand side, we're going to participate with her. And at the same time, if you find that you are lost, chances are, if you turn the page, that's exactly where we are. But you can find yourself on the slides. There's also a page number on the bottom right of the slides so that you can figure out where we are. And if you don't read Hebrew, there's transliteration, or read the English and find yourself, let yourself discover the prayers as well. We're going to rise now for the call to worship, the words of Baruch Hu.
Love your neighbor as yourself, you said, and light blinded we saw that inner and outer worlds are one, as you are one. You spoke, and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us as we climbed, fell back, and climbed again, your Sinai of life. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malutov, Le'olam Vad. Ve'afta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol raha u'v'chol nasheha u'v'chol miodeha v'hayu hadivarim ha'ele asher anohi mitzaveha hayom alevaveha Vishinam tam levaneha vidiberta bam bishifteha bebeteha uvlechteha vadere ushochbeha uvkumeha ukshartam leot al yadeha vihayu letotafafot benineha Uvtavtam al mizizot biteha uvishareha leman tiskeru basitem et kol mitzvotim v'etem kiddushim le'Elohihem ani Adonai Melechem Asher ha'otzeitem mi'eretz Mitzrayim le'ot lahem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohem. Emet. There is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness there is your word. Emet. That pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame. Stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice. Mi hamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi hamocha nader b'kodesh, mi hamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi hamocha nader b'kodesh. Norati
שמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובדכנו מלך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות, שמו קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufiyagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Anorah, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zoher Hastei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol, Atah Rav leHoshia, Mashiv HaRuach u'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim bechesed, Mechayei HaKol b'rachamim rabim, Somech nofelim ve'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, mihamocha ba'al geburot, umidom melach, melech mimeit, umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hakol. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך הארץ, אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון.
לדור ודור.
Hallelujah.
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
To all generations, we will declare your greatness, and for all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips.
ישמחו
ומלאו תהה, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו ומלאו תהה, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת.
מקדשי מקדשי שביעי
שבת.
כולם ישבעו ויתענגו מטובך
שבת. ישמחו ומלאו תהה, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו ומלאו תהה, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת.
והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת
שבת. ישמחו ומלאו תהה, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו ומלאו תהה, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת.
זכר למעשה וראשית שבת. זכר למעשה וראשית
שבת. ישמחו ומלאו תהה, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו ומלאו תהה, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת.
ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
We now take time for silent prayer.
shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imiru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imiru amen.
We come now to Seder Kriyat Torah, the Shabbat, the service for the reading of the Torah on the Sabbath. And the service for the reading of the Torah on the Sabbath, each and every week, we sort of remind ourselves of that the prayer service is all about sort of getting warmed up. Getting warmed up and then sort of slowly on an ascent, on climbing up a mountain. And at the top of the mountain is this opportunity to learn from the tradition that we have and the wisdom that has been passed down l'dor v'dor from generation to generation over thousands of years. And the Jewish people have always said that the guarantee that our tradition is going to last forever does not lie in our ancient ancestors. It doesn't even lie in the teachers and the prophets and sages of our tradition, but rather that the guarantee that our tradition lasts forever lies in the idea and in the action of placing the Torah into our children's hands and encouraging them to walk proudly with it and with the values in their lives. And the Torah that we place today into Lily Joy's hands is a Torah that resides here at Temple Bethel, but is a Torah that is actually a family Torah that has literally been passed down l'dor v'dor from generation to generation by Lily's family. Scribed in Lithuania over 100 years ago, 150 years ago, seen through tumult and challenge and joy and promise, over waters to a distant land we call Pennsylvania, lost for a period of time, and then refound and reclaimed and brought to Charlotte and to be used by all of the family members in B'nai Mitzvah. This is quite literally a passing of the Torah, l'dor v'dor, from generation to generation. So to help in doing this, and I have to say too, it is the heaviest Torah I have ever lifted. And I mean that, that's not hyperbole. That is the truth. So how it made it all the way, I have no idea, because they couldn't have been taking anything else but the Torah. Now, to help us on their way, Lily Joy is going to go stand down next to her parents, Andrew and Gwen, and her brothers, David and Maxwell, and of course, her grandparents, Patricia, Eni, and Phelinda Lindner. If you will come up. And then to join as well, we invite forward Catherine Spezia and Michael Lindner and John Lindner and Marilyn Lindner and Wendy Durham and Mick Durham. If you all come up, I have no idea if you can all fit. But we're going to make our way, keep on going this way. And maybe we need to put Lily Joy a little further down. Yeah. Okay. I didn't mean to freak you out. You're in the right place. All right. I'm going to invite the congregation, the last people to stand are you, so I'm going to invite the congregation to please stand as we take the Torah from the ark. All right, Lily Joy. Take one step forward, but not so far that you, well, okay, yes, maybe 2 steps. Go off. Okay, there you go. Now I want you to turn and face your family. And I said that we were going to do this because this is an amazing thing. It is not every day in Charlotte, North Carolina, that you get to have this many family members from, I don't know, Texas and Portland and Iowa and all the places, right? Like, and maybe Hawaii too, right? Like that's pretty amazing, right? And it's not every day that you get to see all of your family right before you, but literally passing down the Torah generation to generation, and recognizing too that just as there are the family who are here, there are the family that you have loved and who are not here, but who are absolutely here in spirit. And so we're going to pass this Torah to you. I'm going to ask you to stand back next to your dad. And for the family, this is not a Torah that we're going to pass. I will walk down, but please touch it and pass your blessings into the Torah that will be held by Lily Joy.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Yai-lai, 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 yai-lai,
It's awkward. It's actually not there. Yeah, oh, that's okay. Don't worry, fine.
Oh, I skipped it. This.
Yeah, you can sit down. Sorry, thank you.
My Torah portion is called the Vayakal, and it is found in the book of Exodus. The Torah portion describes the building of the tabernacle, which was the religious gathering place of the ancient Israelites. The part that I'm about to read in the Torah focuses on the celebration of Shabbat. Moses told the Israelites to complete work in 6 days, and on the 7th day to rest, and to have Sabbath, a day of rest. Moses also told the Israelites that the punishment for not resting on Sabbath was death. In today's world, that seems a little extreme, doesn't it? But the idea made me wonder about the importance of Shabbat, a day of rest in our lives. On one hand, a day of rest is important for our health and well-being. We can't continuously work. If we worked without stopping, we wouldn't have time to be with our family, our kids, and our siblings. Working every single day would also wear down our bodies and minds. So the Sabbath helps us to rest up and be able to work hard the next week. On the other hand, Shabbat is also about something more than resting. for the purpose of our working. On Shabbat, we spend time with our families and people we care for. We take time to celebrate. We give thanks to God for what we have in our lives. Shabbat gives us meaningful experiences and perspective about our lives. We need Shabbat in order to live well. For me, Shabbat is about family. When we say the blessings for the candles, wine, and challah, we do so with our family. We eat together and we hang out. After a busy week, it's good to just spend time with family and make memories together. I hope all of us can think about more ways we can bring Shabbat, more rest, into our weekly lives, so we can refresh ourselves to work hard and achieve our goals. Shabbat also helps us to create meaningful moments with those we love.
To honor Shabbat this morning with the first Aliyah, we have your first cousins, Sam Spasia-Lindner and David Spasia-Lindner and Riley Woolston and Megan Bush and Ben Bush and Emma Lindner. Come on up. Come on over here.
It's right in the middle. So I'm taking photos of it. Right there. Got it. Okay, hold on.
Come on over here. Baruch Adonai Hamorah, Baruch Adonai Hamorach Le'olam Va'ed,
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natan Lanu Et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
Can I start? V'akhel Moshe et kol adat b'nei Yisrael v'yomer alehem Ela adivarim asher tziva Adonai le'zot otam Shishet yamim ta'aseh melacha v'vayom ha'shava'i yiyeh Lohem kodesh Shabbat Shabbaton L'Adonai kol ha'oset vo melacha v'vayom yomat le'tivaru eish Behol mi'itahem Bayom HaShabbat.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher natan lanu Torat Emet, V'chayei Olam Nata B'tohenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach. In our Jewish tradition, and around Charlotte, we say Yasher Koach. And everyone here say Yasher? Say Koach. Put it together, say Yasher Koach. Yasher Koach means keep up the strength. In Charlotte, we say keep pounding. And for not only the ways in which you have honored Torah and honored Shabbat, but really for being awesome cousins to Lily Joy, and for all the ways in which you make this day special by your presence here. So, I'm pretty sure you know how to do this. If you can hug her, okay, on the way to stand over next to the cantor on the other side, come on over and give her a big hug. We get to invite forward your parents and brothers, Andrew and Gwen and Maxwell and David, and your grandmothers, Fayelinda and Patricia, if you will come forward. Come on up, come over here.
va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamparach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayomer Moshe El Kol Adat B'nai Israel Lemor. Zehadavar Asher Tziva Adonai Lemor. Kehu mi'itahem teruma ladonai kol nadiv libo. Yavieha 8 teruma Adonai zehav ba'atse unahoshet.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tocheinu Baruch Atah Adonai
Notain HaTorah. Amen. We say Yasher Koach for keeping up the tradition in your family, for honoring Shabbat and Torah, of course, for the love that you give to Lily Joy, and perhaps maybe the big brother in moments too, right? For all of those things, we say Yasher Koach, keep up the strength, and Mazel Tov. And of course, we want you to give a hug too. So if you will, you can place that right down there. And say what? Right up.
All right, Lily Joy, it is your turn to be called to the Torah as a bat mitzvah. Lily Joy Rose Lindner, it is our privilege to call you Talmud Liat Bat Eliana v'Pesach David Habat Mitzvah La Aliyah La Torah.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hara Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et To. Baruch Atah Adonai Notain HaTorah.
Amen.
Utahelet Bargamon V'folet Shani V'shesh Vizin. Orot Elim mi'itahem Be'orot Tahasim Ba'atseh Shitim. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher natan lanu Torat emet V'hayei olam nata betoheinu. Baruch Atah Adonai Notain HaTorah.
Amen. We reserve our loudest Yasher Koach right now. So on the count of 3, ready? 1, 2, 3. Yasher Koach. Keep up the strength in honoring Torah and Shabbat and your family and the traditions. Mazel Tov, you did an absolutely beautiful job. All right. As we have our Torah out, we take a moment always to think of those in our community who are in need of healing. Healing of mind and body and spirit and soul. And on this Shabbat, we're particularly cognizant of those in Ukraine who are in need of healing and peace. The Jewish community there who are huddled in Hillels and Jewish community centers, Moishe houses, and in other locations. This prayer for healing is a reflection to us, not only to pray for the healing of those that we love, but also a reminder to leave this space and to give them a call, to do something, to drop off food, to help in recovery and support. We continue with the words of Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBeracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor haberacha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I invite the congregation to rise as we dress the Torah.
It's been a crazy 2 years since the beginning of the pandemic. I'm particularly grateful to God that my family and friends are here today. Thank you to everyone who has traveled from far and near. Your presence this morning and the ways we will celebrate means the world to me. There have been many people who helped me to prepare my prayers, Torah portion, and speeches. I wanted to thank my tutors, and specifically Cantor Mary and Rabbi Knight, for your support. Thank you, Vika, for sitting with me in uncomfortable places and practicing Hebrew even in the middle of the night. I want to thank my Grandma Patricia. Thank you for all the times we have hung out and relaxed at your house. You are always so kind to me. Thanks to my Grandma Philinda for teaching me how to make the most delicious challah with honey on it. I love both of you, and on this day, I want to acknowledge the lives of my grandfathers, David and Marshall. We miss them, and I know their memories with us. Maxwell, thank you for calling me even with the huge time difference from here to Hawaii. David, thanks for teaching me about cars. I'm lucky to have two kind and caring older brothers. Dad, I love talking to you about your music. Thanks for all the ways you are patient, kind, and caring. Mom, I love your cooking. Seriously, you make the best chicken dishes. You're also loving, caring, and kind. I have awesome parents, and I am thankful every day, or at least most of the days, that I get to have you in my life. I love you. Mom and Dad, please join me on the bima.
Not gonna cry, not gonna cry. Just under 13 years ago, we were given the gift of a lifetime. You. A lot has changed. A lot has changed in 13 years, including the regrettable fact that you've grown up so much. But the warmth and kindness that is so obviously within you, that hasn't changed a bit. As a baby, when either of us would hold you on our shoulder and pat you on your back to comfort you, I'll never forget how you would instinctively reciprocate and pat my back with your tiny little arm, as if to comfort me instead. You've always had a pilot light of goodness inside of you, and the older you get, the warmer it burns. You are a fiercely loyal friend. You love your brothers and the rest of your family with unconditional love. If someone needs a hug or a kind word, you are always there. You are independent, confident, and positively fearless, as we've seen today. You have an enthusiasm for life that is infectious to everyone around you. You are so beautiful in so many ways. Lily Joy, you're everything your mother and I could have ever dreamed of, and so much more. There is a story of a famously wise rabbi who was once asked a provocative question by one of his students. The question was, if you had to pick one moment in the entire history of Judaism, what would be the most important moment? When God gave Moses the Ten Commandments, the parting of the Red Sea, or maybe when Abraham lifts his knife to sacrifice his own son? The answer, said the rabbi, is actually none of those. There's one moment that is more important than all the others. What moment is that? Asked the student. The rabbi replied, this moment. You see, there is no more important moment than the present one, and you, Lily Joy, have the wisdom, even at your age, to see this. You are a beautiful anachronism. You're a child in a hyper-digital age that loves to play old-fashioned board games. You seem to somehow recognize that the reward of the game is simply playing it. And whether you know it or not, you remind us of one of the keys to life, to remain present in the moment. And at this present moment, this precious moment, your mother and I are so very proud of what you have accomplished today here on the Bima, but more importantly of the beautiful young woman you have become, both inside and out. Mazel tov on your bar mitzvah. We love you very much.
Thank you.
Invite the congregation to Andrew and Gwen Holman, stay right here. Invite the congregation to please rise. Come on over here. Lily Joy. Lily Joy, your Torah portion is absolutely about Shabbat, but it is also part of sort of 3 Torah portions in a row that talk about the creation of the tabernacle, the sort of sanctuary and space in which our people would gather together to pray and to worship to God, but also to be with one another and support each other. And our rabbis tell us that as important as it is to build physical spaces, the most important tabernacle that we create is the one of our hearts and our souls. The inner work of building up that allows God's divine light to be within our souls and ultimately to spread by our actions. And as your father said, and I know your mother absolutely echoes in every sense, you have built a beautiful tabernacle in your heart. One with courage and kindness, with a sense of humor and a lot of love. And our prayer for you and our hope for you is that you spread that divine light that's inside of you in the tabernacle that you are continuing to create in your heart into the world. The prayer that we're about to say is one of the oldest in our tradition. It's the very center of all of the Torah scrolls here. And if you were to go to the Jerusalem Museum, you'd actually find an amulet that's 3,000 years old with the very words that we're about to chant on it. And it's a prayer that priests would give to the people, but most importantly, a prayer that parents give to their children. And we, all of us, are going to participate in the prayer as well. And so Cantor Thomas is going to chant each stanza of the prayer, and I will translate. And then after I translate, we're going to say the words Ken, Yehi, Ratzon. Say Ken, Yehi, Ratzon. We're going to put that together. Say Ken, Yehi, Ratzon. Means may this be God's will. And this is the response that we give to each stanza of the prayer, each part of hope and sense of possibility in Lily Joy's future.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ein
Yehi Ratzon.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's radiance shine upon you and be gracious to you. Ken Yehi Ratzon.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
And may God walk with you every single day of your life. And may God support you and bless you with the most important blessings of all, the blessing of shalom, of peace, and shlemut, of wholeness. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will. And we all say,
Amen.
We're going to stay standing and keep the ark open as we continue with the words of Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teit gedula li'yotzer b'reshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishbechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
But not as heavy as the Torah. Okay, just want to make sure. Okay. You want to sit with your parents, you can. That's okay. Go show your brothers. Oh, so often, as Lily Joy already said, so often when there is such joy to be shared, there's also moments in which we remember and think about those whom we have loved and those whom we have lost. Every life cycle, every moment like this is a layered experience. A layered experience precisely because to love is to know that we will also lose. And there have been people who have helped guide us in our way. Those who died recently in the past 30 days, those who died at this season in years past, and people that we have drawn into our hearts as our own. Our tradition is to rise when the name of a family member is read. In our community this week, we remember those who died in the last 30 days for the period of Shloshim: Robert J. Gentile, Janet Horsley, Harriet Honey Kreidel, Norman Allen Lieberman, Jeffrey Reddig, Christine Ritter Vanderpill, and Gene Simmons. We mark with sympathy and sadness the anniversaries, the yard sites of the deaths of William Adams, Ellen Myers Edelman, Max Ahrens, Yetta Bahar, Diane Beitcher, Marilyn Berkelhammer Benson, Rita Myers Blyman, Jane Brink, Billy Rachel Brown, Renee Buxbaum, Israel Chesler, William Donovan, Harold Dresner, Baron Elam, Joseph Ellenson, Marty Faberman, Ernest Fenster, Robert Foster, Gloria Madow Glazer, Celia Goldfarb, Marvin Goldman, Edward Sire Goldstein, Ida Herlick, Julia Kahn, Lonnie Kahn, Dorothy Kaplan, B. Carton, Glendine Keeling, Patrick Kennel Sr., Harry Kessler, Rebecca Lavitan, Marshall Lindner, Irving Livingston, Fred Long, Dorothy Matos, Ada Miller, Miriam Nachman, Harry A. Norman, Edwin Nykiel, Ruth Patt, Cable Philpott, Elise Pinto, Martin Pollock, Rochelle Prosno, Herbert Rees, Benjamin Harold Rosker, Mark L. Rothman, Gussie Rovman, William Royer, Daniel Sadler, Julian Robert Sally, Elias Bitar Samhan, Joel Schwartz, Nathan Schwartz, Gary Schwartzbach, Clara Shaw, Sam Silverstein, Joe S. Tobias, Robin Weinstein, Marjorie Stiegelmeier, Wetzka, and Samuel Udell. Lily Joy's family wishes to remember David S. Woolston, and of course, again, Marshall Warren Lindner. We mark with sympathy as well for those who died in the Shoah, the Holocaust, our American servicemen and women who gave their lives for our freedoms, and those who died defending the state of Israel. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for a blessing as we rise and turn to page 598 with the words of Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal vayitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala u'bizman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mivarach le'olam u'lamei olamaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, Amen.
We're going to conclude our service this morning with the words of Shehechianu. And the words of Shehechianu are sort of counterintuitive a little to the words of Kaddish Tom, perhaps. The words of Kaddish Tom, the mourner's Kaddish, is actually a prayer that doesn't really speak about death, but speaks about the beauty of life and gratitude for the lives that were lived. And the words of the Shehechianu that we're going to conclude our service with this morning is a prayer that we say at special moments just like this, a prayer that thanks God for not only giving us life, but sustaining our lives, especially over these last few years, sustaining our lives to help us reach joyous occasions just like this.
Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh
Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov. That's what I always thought myself.
Oh dear.
All right, can I give you a hug?
And I'm putting your things back together for you so you can have them for posterity.
Beautiful job.
Ma'am, you did so well. How do you feel? Good.
Can I see your yacht? I wanted to see it.
It's really super cool.
really
It was customized.
How did you choose the customization?
My cousin gave it to me last night.
It's really cool. I really like it.
I said to you at least 3 times during the service, you were a boss. That is my giant takeaway.
Oh,
you are a boss.
Do you have your talit? Do you wanna if you
Grab
want
your talit for a picture.
Do a picture with you.
I got it. What angle do you want us at? Where do you want us? We're gonna go over this way. Bye. Have fun. Thank you, Patty.